Good morning, everybody. Today is April 26, 2017. This is the Tribal Education Department National Assembly Native Youth Community Project 2015. My name is Julian Guerrero, Project Director for TEDNA NYCP 2015. Today we're starting our routine tour team conference core call, and we have several agenda topics today to talk about for TEDNA NYCP. But before I go into the topics and the details following, I'd like to give some time for those present to introduce themselves. So first, if we could have, we'll start with Mark, and we'll go to Michael and maybe caller two. Good morning.
Good morning, and this is Mark Williams, and I represent the Academic Development Institute, a partner in this NYCP project for TEDNA.
Good morning, this is Michael. I'm the External Evaluator for TEDNA NYCP.
Great, thank you. And caller 02, this is your last chance. Okay, well, we have caller 02. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Today's agenda topics, as I mentioned before, let me kind of put this on a bigger screen so you can see. We have four major components that we'll be talking about in today's core call, and this is just a sample of all the other things that we're doing on many fronts. But these four are the most diligent that we're prioritizing in front of us now, and that is the ACT Aspire Technical Strategy, overall ACT Aspire tool, and looking at what the timeline is there. Then I'd like to go over a little bit on the APR submission. We submitted April 14th, 2017. And then, Michael, I'll probably turn it over to you once I hit this topic. You can share more on this, but the College Board, some efforts that we've already been making some interaction with Jennifer Dunn, our contact person with the College Board. It is Jennifer, correct, Michael?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. And then last but definitely not least, the summer programming and looking at the developing schedule and etc. and material details there. So starting out, let me, just so that it's not me talking to a static screen here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up some guidance that we've sent out from central office. What's important to know about ACT Aspire is that for those who are not familiar with our ACT tools, it's one out of the three tools that we're taking advantage of in this program, and that is the ACT Aspire. The other remaining two is ACT Engage and ACT Profile. As it stands to date for this year, we've already ran through all of our ACT Engage reports and test administrations, and we're yet to do the profile, but currently we're in Aspire status as it is now. And a while back, more than a month ago, I had sent out some original guidance to talk about ACT Aspire and kind of some of those training modules that are important to cover, and to those materials as far as training, assigning those roles, those training roles. So for each of our Indian education specialists, and for each of our resource coordinators, there are specific assignments in terms of what sort of training guides or training materials they need to look over and get familiar with. So the Indian education specialists themselves are to look at training roles for as technology coordinator, student parent, and then a total estimated training time of about 1 hour, 48 minutes. And then the resource coordinators, their assigned roles are as test coordinators and educators, and their total training time allotments are about 7 hours. And that fits two bills. Well, the first is that because the specialists have a limited amount of time and they're already dealing with the students in a direct structure, there's not much time they can dedicate as it stands now toward the training, so they're taking less training burden. and in exchange, the more training burden would go toward the resource coordinator, which is why we justified their year two funding. They're funded through carryover funds from year one to complete ACT Aspire goals and overall project objectives. So that being said, there's two primary resources that we're working with. One is the training catalog itself that comes from ACT, the organization, and then there's the online version of the training management system where you can see the online modules. So the training catalog and the training online system kind of go hand in hand. You refer to them um, back and forth. And in this guidance, I've highlighted a few. I went through the training catalog and highlighted certain videos and titles that need to be completed, and it lists their format and their titles and what sort of materials it goes over. And then I'll talk a little bit about the targeted Aspire administrations per site. These were targeted; these are not actual, just because there's so many variables involved in actually getting students to be able to be in a situation to take these assessments. Um, and overall, the proposed timeline, because we're running really into the end of the year. I mean, it's the proposed testing window is from May 1 to the end of the window itself. The window is, oh, I guess I didn't put it down right here, but proposed window from May 1 to May 12. And then all this time in the month of April has been going through all these training modules and videos and getting acquainted with all the requirements for um, school testing or Aspire testing, excuse me. Um, so looking at, pull this up here, the guidance and the training timeline, implementation timeline. Tomorrow, I do have a call with the specialist. We'll have a specialist call, and we'll be going over um, a few things that we want to that we need to talk about in terms of looking at what's possible and keeping, of course, keeping our intentions secured in the sense that we do need to have tests, but then also look at it in a practical sense and what we can gain out of the how many students we can hit. So moving on to the second section here, APR submission summary. As mentioned before, we submitted our APR April 14th. A lot of joint effort and work put into this. Um, uh, from all folks considered, from the specialist and the content that they generate to our tests and the information generated from our ACT tests to our college career readiness nights to information that each of the resource partners have contributed to interviews that Michael has gathered to just overall taking every bit of submittable data and information and relaying that back to um, in a format that OIE wants. Now, we haven't heard anything back from the Office of Indian Education. A year ago, when we first submitted our first round of APR, we haven't heard anything back from that yet either. But we'll always be readily available to talk about any of our APR submission material with either OIE or resource coordinator or, excuse me, core resource partner, um, and any other stakeholder involved, whether that's a parent or administrator, school administrator. Um, so the executive summary itself, let me kind of go here. Excuse me while I sort through. Um, Sorry for the pause there. Trying to, well, the executive summary hasn't hasn't changed at all. But just to show you a glimpse at what the executive summary is, it's a lot more pretty than this. But here's just the text, as is an introduction to talk about, of course, what our program is, our resource partners, the tribal partners involved, looking at the second year and stating that our findings have led to major data-driven decisions focused on improving implementation for the benefit and support of participating students. Now that did change. Actually, let me try to pull up the final. I hate to talk about. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So looking and this is thanks to Michael and putting the executive summary together for us. Going over the objectives for the program, most of this is straightforward. But then once again, talking about our major data-driven decisions focused on improving implementation for the benefit and support of participating Indian students. Then we go into each of the core resource partners. We talk about ACT. We throw the numbers out there that are important. We talk about Khan Academy. We talk about ADI. We talk about ADI as a result from partnering with ADI that enhanced lesson design and helping us develop kind of the rougher stages of Unit 1 curriculum. And then our partnership with NARF, and then of course the building and pushing forward the database, and then read-write systems, then Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education, then of course the Chromebooks and the newsletters, and our core team board meetings, and then looking at some no-cost expansion opportunities. So there's a lot. There really is a lot that we could go in multiple directions on. But really, pulling it all together and to stay focused on this concept of family, community, and school culture, and really, really, really showing how each of these resources support the implementation of the program. So that being said, let me go back to the budget projection. We submitted a projection for a carryover amount of $18,500, and those can be seen in attachments B and C. We've shared just about the same information, an updated contact list, as well as just any other material observations, narratives that we could talk on. With that being said, our third topic, the College Board, talking about Jennifer Dunn, the suite of assessments, and possible training for the specialists to get introduced to the College Board and the resources there. Michael, I give some time to you.
Well, thank you very much. The College Board represents one of many no-cost expansions that have occurred under the leadership of Quinn and Julian, not only on behalf of TEDNA NYCP, but TEDNA in general, and by extension, NYCP programs across the nation. In this particular case, both Quinn and Julian felt that evolving what was originally called Indian Education Specialist to take on the identity of what now is characterized as College and Career Readiness Specialist, there would be the opportunity to acquire and experience extended training in that arena. As we already know, TEDNA, and as a result of TEDNA NYCP, has already developed a relationship with one of the biggest college and career readiness organizations in the United States, and that's ACT. Clearly, the other is the College Board. Their outreach has put them in contact with Jennifer Dunn, who oversees professional development and training throughout the nation. Here, they're now involved in a conversation in terms of identifying what the college and career readiness specialists might need to carry out their important work, and in doing so, becoming intimately aware of the full range of supports and services that are available through the College Board. Now, in doing so, they take a step forward to say how this might be better or how this can be shared with travel education departments outside of NYCP. And in doing so, creating a generation of highly trained individuals who not only know how to meet the needs of Indian students or families and communities, but have a working relationship with critical players within the arena of college and career readiness. The next set of dialogues are really characterizing the sensitivity of the College Board. They don't want to simply impose, this is what it looks like, this is what you need. What they want to share is what they offer. They want to listen to Julian, Quentin, the education specialist, about what they need and how this might work in their life. And that's an evolving dialogue that could very well reach fruition in the summer in time for offering more evolved supports and services for the coming school year in 2017-2018. So let me close by saying this is a very exciting dialogue that's taking place, and I think it puts TEDNA in a very rarefied position to extend not only supports for its current NYCP program, but for travel education department throughout the nation. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Michael. I appreciate that. And, as it stands, working with Jennifer, she seems pretty eager to just get engaged and introduce. So this is really trying to make a linkage here. The College Board offers additional curriculum on the Khan Academy platform. And my initial thoughts on it were that we could really take advantage of that linkage. And there's always room to take advantage of things and incorporate it into additional future units. So that being said, thank you, Michael, for that.
You're welcome. And thank you for acknowledging too that this work what's really what I observe as an external evaluator is that you don't keep adding on new elements to a very sophisticated strategic plan. You see how what you're already doing well can be extended, and it was early on that you recognized that your important work in the Khan Academy could naturally evolve into a more meaningful working relationship with the College Board, given their already incredible presence on the Khan Academy website. And I think at this point we begin to check in with the specialist. For example, Tashina's on the line right now, and I don't know if she's on mute, but the next step is to inform the specialist about this opportunity, and we might get an early comment from her about what this might mean for her and her work. It might be too soon too, but let's turn to Tashina. And as Tashina, you've heard a little bit about what's been introduced, and what are your thoughts and feelings about how this might help you do your job better? Tashina?
Good morning. Yeah, I've been hearing everything about College Board, and I'm really excited to be working with them as far as the services that we can offer to our students. It's been great working with ACT as far as the training and everything they provide, but as far as College Board, I'm wanting to know a little bit more and how we can use that for our lower level grades, like 6th and 7th grade, to start their early college and career readiness. But other than that, everything that has been coming towards us as far as training and everything has been fitting into our schedules. It's just a little bit overwhelming with our units But as far as everything, I mean, all our timelines are fitting together, and we're working as a program.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I think the next steps are to address clearly that is to introduce things in a measured, methodical way that are complementing your existing efforts and not overwhelming the specialists with too much. And it's very gratifying to know both ACT and College Board are extremely sensitive to that. Seems like they're well schooled in the idea that people working on behalf of Indian education are wearing many different hats and trying to attend to so many needs. The needs are really great out there. So thank you for your comment, Tashina. Julian?
Awesome. Thank you for that. So our last component that I'd like to touch base on a little bit to update the core team on is the summer programming. And there's been some backstage making sure that the first and foremost thing to make this possible is securing food distribution. And our last confirmed site has been with absentee Shawnee tribe. The absentee Shawnee tribe site, Tecumseh, with the meeting last Friday, a great meeting. One of my curiosities was seeing if they were to opt into a summer program, then maybe if we could hop on the summer food service program. I have been in contact with the other sites through the appropriate contact person to talk about summer food, and no site has objected to us taking advantage of summer food programs. So in each site we can get summer food. It's just a matter of if we have to go to a specific facility to get the food, or if there could be a delivery to wherever we want to host. So that really opens the door to actually have a dedicated logistical conversation. So there will be a 4-week, 3-day-a-week Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday summer program starting most likely in July. Is what we're looking at here. And what tomorrow's specialist call will be is half of it would be dedicated to this ACT Aspire, the technical strategy, the timeline, making sure I develop a checklist of materials, but then also to do a checklist for the summer programming and looking at development of what sort of curriculum we're going to use for the summer programming. I know we want to relay some time toward read write in the summer program, but overall give some consideration to developing Unit 2 curriculum. This idea, not official title yet, but connectivity and community sort of title, and moving forward in those aspects. So that being said, we're sitting at a time here, 11:32. I'd like to go ahead and open the rest of the call up to all those attending with us this morning. So we'll go down the same line. Mark, Michael, Tashina, and then caller number 2. So please go ahead, Mark. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
No, thanks, Julian. I was able to visit with Bernadette this morning, and she related to me that she was able to have a planning conversation with you about how we might assist in the development of the Unit 2 curriculum, and we're certainly very open to that and eager for next steps.
Thank you. Michael? You on mute, Michael?
I was on mute. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I want to attend to a repeated topic that I brought forth, and now the TEDNA NYCP database is continually under development, and we have a meeting this week to continually follow up on the incorporation of fields and identifying the structure of that as we proceed towards the process of developing a access database. Related to that, of course, is working intimately with the resource partners like ADI and NARF to identify the kind of fields variables data they can provide. ADI has been extremely responsive in terms of providing not only the information they already collect, but being open and willing to document additional efforts that really feature their important foundational work. And the same with Native American Rights Front, NARF. I have been working closely with Melanie McCoy and developing what we call a pre-post survey in terms of the already significantly revised education code training as a result of NYCP funding. For example, NARP had already an established practice of delivering a well-received training on education code that has since been refined and evolved to address the needs of college and career readiness. Those developments are really quite exciting in terms of how this particular project helped evolve the work that one of the most prominent advocates in Indian country on behalf of tribal communities does their work. Now, as we consider other kinds of things that are taking place, I'm working closely with people associated with Khan Academy. As we know, there's a recent production of 5 demonstration videos and that are getting ready to launch, and we're trying to identify the metrics that will identify how this work attend to the goal and the objectives of NYCP. At the same time, continuing the conversation about the use of educational technology to not only further the work of TEDNA NYCP, but to disseminate it in a way that its impact can be shared with a broader audience. With that comes the idea of a strategic dissemination plan, somewhat of what we might even refer to as a media strategic plan, but to getting the word out and in ways that the whole audience, the audience being the core audience are the kids and the students being served and the school or educational personnel, the tribal education department, the tribal ed community or tribal community in general. All of those deserve to hear about the kind of efforts that are underway right now. I think it puts TEDNA NYCP in a unique position of featuring some of the work so that they know that this is going to have an extended sustainable impact in Indian country. Those are just a few of the things that are underway that I'm observing as an external evaluator. But to come full circle, a lot of this is predicated under having the data to be able to monitor whether this project is meeting the goal and the 3 objectives. And so far, important steps are being taken so that we can address that need being what is out there to show us that you're accomplishing a goal and meeting those objectives. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Michael. Next, Tashina, if you have any comments, I know you're under the weather.
Yeah, no, I don't have much to say. It's just that we're wrapping up the end of the school year. We just finished both of our CCR nights, our parent nights, with both our schools, finalizing out Unit 1 to send to central office for distribution to all the tribal offices that are with NYCP. Other than that, no, I don't have any questions or anything right now.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. And then last chance to our caller number 2. One of these days, we're going to get caller number 2 to comment a little bit. But anyways, having said that, there's nothing else on the agenda for us to talk about for today. But I would like to mention the next core team call. So we are slated for May 10th. May 10th, 11 to 12 p.m., 12 noon, 11 to 12 noon Central Daylight Time. That being said, appreciate everybody joining us today, and hope you guys have a good rest of the week, and talk to you guys later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.